Everybody, Gerone Wright here, and once again you're joining me on my Gerone Wright YouTube channel here on YouTube. In this video I'm going to see if I'm going to take and crack another code on an ancient mystery which has baffled the minds of many, including scholars, scientists, lay people or lay persons, about Peru and the Peruvian I guess it's the old city of Cuzco, and it's Sacsayhuaman, and it's these stone walls that are built, and no one can seem to figure out or place in mind on how these stones got formed and placed in the way they did, and being such on a megalithic scale of the size and tonnage of these rocks. Through my ongoing paranormal experience and encounter, I believe that I narrowed down the scenario which would best describe how these rocks were created and how they were placed. And as I finish, I believe that you would agree with me. Where we at here? How can we not move? Okay, there you go. I got to check my YouTube time too to see if if I actually gotten more time. There's only one way that these rocks could have gotten shaped and formed the way that they have. Now, in my earlier on videos, when I discussed such stones and of a megalithic scale, I stated that there were forms made and there was some type of casting of these rocks through an ancient secret that they utilized through volcanism, and this was something that I actually seen in my visions. Now, in this case, however, and also I also stated in some of my videos that these rocks were formed in a state where, going back, when you go back further in time, these rocks would not have been fully processed and hard and mineralized to the point of where they were solidified, and these rocks would be more like clay, like Play-Doh, so to speak, and would be able to be formed. But you have these rocks on such a large scale that you will be like, well, I can't imagine nobody forming something like this on such a scale. But this is where everything comes in the ancient mythology of this location, where there is actually ancient myths that detail that there were giants that were developing, that were created. They were talking about how people were created from clay, first from stone. There were giants that were created from stone, and then they were created from clay. A second form of giants was created from clay. Now, you know, there's a lot going on here where mythology could have been twisted and turned and bent in a way that where words got taken out of context, and it's just that I believe that these stories relate to a specific time and event that occurred, but it's just the application of it is being twisted around. And this is where we have this problem, where we have these evasions of these locations by conquistadors and by other invading foreign countries that came in and invaded these places. And this is where histories got distorted and got lost, suppressed intentionally, because the people that invaded these places came in and took the true knowledge out and then gave these people a false knowledge to proceed on to into the future. And this is why there's this confusion at today. Look at this. There is no sophistication behind the building of this building. There's no sophistication here in this. I don't see no sophistication. When I look at this, you know what I see? I see a construction of what a child would do on a small scale, playing with Play-Doh or playing with mud. This is what I see: a child making shapes, or a person or an adult with a childlike concept, a mindset that makes objects and shapes and fit them together, pressed together. And this is how this came about. If you look at these shapes and objects, as you see a person that they molded it with their hands and placed it in. Now I'm going to drive to my point because I don't have much time here. Look at this. These objects start with one shape, and then you can see where they're formed together. This is not where this was chipped and carved together. This was something that where these was pressed together. You can actually tell that these rocks were in a softer state at one point in time, and they were just simply pressed together. If you want to see a similar scenario of this, go get your child some Play-Doh and watch what they do with it. They'll do the same exact thing, which I'm actually coming up on here some now. Play-Doh. There's a child's hands. What's amazing about what I've discovered here is that fingerprints are left on these objects that these children form. And in the Cusco wall construction here, let me see if we have some here. You will see on certain rocks along in here, these rocks, there are some that are stacked up higher, and then there's some on the lower ground. You will see almost a telltale sign of like prints, a signature print on each one of these indentations, almost like if there were 3 fingers. Let me put 3 fingers. Almost as if they were 3 fingers that were pressed against these. At first, when I saw them on the lower level, the first thing that came to mind was the hook. I mean, the foots of elephants, the front nail part of the hoof of the elephant. That's what I thought was pressed and maybe pushed in these things in the. No, these are because no elephant wouldn't have been able to get up here and reach. And I said, I guess yeah. Then and again, it could because an elephant can raise up to that level and then push. But you can tell that these rocks were actually placed in their position at a time where they were in a softer state of being, because there is indentation and imprints left from the time from where they were placed in. And basically, I can, if you imagine with me, what you can almost see is you can almost see the identifying. Let me see if I can come up on some here. I don't want to run out of time because this is going to be a great video. Come on, click over. You can almost see where there are handprints, hand markings from the hand that are in some of these rocks that were placed in place. And then you say, well, I can't imagine nothing being that big. Well, everything was much larger in the beginning. It's all now coming to a point of, it was at a pyramid. At the top of this pyramid, everything was larger. People were larger, animals were larger, everything was larger. So therefore, we are at a minute state of where life is being cut down to size to the point of being extinct. And this is why you hear these people talking about all of these different pyramids of different lives going on. About there being one group of people or one civilization that we don't even know nothing about. These different levels of life, of creation. And we are now in the 4th realm of it. And this is what this is all about. Imagine this on each level, at the top of this level, that people were at the size where not just children or beings could be where they can form this with their hands, because you can see markings on this. There's those markings there that I was talking about. Those 3 markings. Let me see if I can get right on this side here. I got them out. Okay, here's some here. Right there. These markings, 1, 2, 3 are on, and there's some over here. Right here as well. Identifying markings as if they were hands or fingers that place these in here. Look at the dots. These are handprints from almost like what you would expect if you go and give your child some Play-Doh or Play-Doh. I might not. That Play-Doh right there, and I'm going to keep on going because I have some. You see this Play-Doh? When you form and shape this with your hands, or the child shapes it with his hand, there are identical markings and prints that are left in this Play-Doh in its softened state. Now imagine this being baked or set somewhere where it is baked and preserved and hardened, mineralized. The same markings from that time of now, 1,000,000 years ago, would still be in there, and that is what we are witnessing with the Cusco stone. So here's some more. The same exact thing with this Play-Doh. These children leaving their markings on these stones. Let me see. I'm going to call right back. I'm in the middle of making a video. All right? I'm going to hang up. I'm going to call right back. Okay. Yep. The same exact thing. Look, I'm gonna have to keep going because I'm at 11 minutes here. Look, Play-Doh, people. Now, this is not an original. Look at this Play-Doh. Look at how it's molded together in its softened state. This is identical what is going on to the Sacsayhuaman rocks. Look at the child's fingers. Look, the 3 fingers there. The same identical markings are on each one of these massive rocks that you can actually see where they were actually shaped in a place with a hand-type form and then placed here, and they're in their softened state. They do just like clay or soft rocks or mud. It actually takes and molds together, and there's a tight fit to where nothing can fit between it. Not even a feather, not even a hair, nothing, because it was molded together. It was pressed together in its softened state. It was durable, pliable. So it almost like it came one with the other, and this was the secret behind earlier designs. It's just that religion blocks you from imagining such life forms being on such a scale that they could have actually built this. Imagine not these little people down here, but giants, larger creatures, not even something that we could possibly even imagine because of religion and everything else that unblocked our mindsets from seeing it, and science. Imagine these people. A child's playground. This is what this is. This is not nothing that is of much sophistication to build. You get your child Play-Doh on a much smaller scale, they do the same exact thing. They just make shapes and fit them together in the best way that they go. I got to keep going here. Let me see what else I have here, because I got... Come on. There's children there playing. Look, over here, this child here. And this is what is just as what at those locations. There's a lineal, 2 pieces of clay together, and a lineal coming across the top, just like which is at that Sacsayhuaman building, and also in the at the Stonehenge. These things, look what children are doing, and this is what these building structures are. If you look at them before they became sophisticated. I got 30. Let me keep going here. Children again playing with Play-Doh. Let me keep going. Again, the child's prints. Come on, keep going. Here. I like this one here. Look at this child has the toy, like a saw, okay, on a piece of toy construction equipment. But more so, look at the blocks that this child has made. Look. With these blocks pressed together, you have the identical thing, which is at Sacsayhuaman, the old city of Cusco over in Peru. The same exact thing. Now, if you take this and set this somewhere out in the desert or somewhere where it would solidify and harden, somewhere in time where our type of mankind has become extinct, there's a smaller version of us, life starting all over again on another level, down on a smaller level, where at one point in time we would be so small that when we come up to this, we would think that giants, I mean, or this was something, was a natural made form. This is what we would be led to believe, that it was something natural, because this is what this is. We would never imagine that there were people or children at that time that could make something like that. Because here we are now, millions and millions of years down the line, in a new evolution of our kind, and they come across this child's Play-Doh out somewhere that's been preserved out in the world, and now this is what we're dealing with. Been hardened or solidified in mud or whatever. And we're at the size of ants, and we're looking up at this and would have never imagined this picture, because we're closed-minded to it all. My name is Gerone Wright. I have to end this video here, so I'm going to stop this.